Welcome, agents, to another quick disclosure when submitting an offer. Any property that was built after 1978, this really isn't applicable. You don't really need to submit this, but this is your property transfer notification certification, which goes over lead paint. So if you have a property that you're submitting an offer on for a buyer or a seller, you're working with a seller, you have your seller's disclosure, you have your buyer's disclosure, and then you have your agent's acknowledgement here. It just talks about lead paint, the risks of lead paint, yada, yada, yada. So let's say you're working with the buyer in this case. Most sellers are already going to have this printed and signed by their sellers. So you're working with a buyer. Let's say there's no lead paint. You're gonna have your buyer click off initial E, where it says purchaser, lessee purchaser has received the property transfer lead paint notification, which they have here, and then you're gonna have your buyer initial either waive the 10-day opportunity receive the 10-day opportunity to conduct a risk assessment or any type of home inspection here. The buyer will initial here, or the buyer will initial here. They're waiving the lead paint inspection and or home inspection. In this case, it's a lead paint inspection. Now, most buyers, 99% of buyers, are going to waive this caveat. They don't really care about lead paint. You can always look up the laws about lead paint. But so you're going to have your buyer typically initial here and initial here, waiving a lead paint inspection. If you're working with the buyer's agent, you're going to initial here, verbally informed purchaser, agent has, or if you're working with the seller, agent has informed the seller, and you're going to initial there as the agent, and then you're just going to sign down here. You're going to sign here. Your buyer's going to sign here, date, put the property address. In most cases, if you're working with a buyer, most agents that get their first sale, it's going to be where you're working with a buyer. You're not working with a seller, you're working with a buyer. My first two sales when I got in the industry back in 2008, I was a buyer's agent. So I showed one of my buyers, I think 20 places, finally sold him something in Everett, made the commission. A few months later, worked with another buyer. I think I showed her maybe 5-6 places. She was a little less fussy. Sold her a house in Revere at the time for $285,000. And back in 2008, it was a spectacular commission, and it was in November of 2008. So I remember it was right before Christmas. So that was a good Christmas. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free and give me a call. This is a lead paint. You get these with rentals a lot, but with offers, you do need to submit them if the property was built prior to 1979. Thanks again, and make it a great day.